Okay.
And, oh yeah, go ahead and call it out.
Seemah Wilder. Take 1. Chorus 5. Ow.
Oh, for a muse of fire that would ascend the brightest heaven of invention, a kingdom for a stage, princes to act, and monarchs to behold the swelling scene. Then should the warlike Harry, like himself, assume the port of Mars, and at his heels, leashed in like hounds, should famine, sword, and fire crouch for employment. But pardon, gentles all, the flat, unraised spirit that hath dared on this unworthy scaffold to bring forth so great an object. Can this cockpit hold the vasty fields of France? Or may we cram within this wooden the very casks that did affright the air at Agincourt? Oh, pardon, since a crooked figure may attest in little place a million, and let us, ciphers to this great account, on your imaginary forces work. Suppose within the girdle of these walls are now confined 2 mighty monarchies, whose high upreared and abutting fronts the perilous narrow ocean cuts asunder. Piece out our imperfections with your thoughts. Into 1,000 parts divide one man, and make imaginary puissance. Think when we talk of horses that you see them printing their proud hoofs into the receiving earth. For it is your thoughts that now must deck our kings, carry them here and there, jumping o'er times, turning the accomplishment of many years into an hourglass. For the which supply, admit me, chorus to this history, who prologue-like your humble patience pray, gently to hear, kindly to judge our play.
Action.
Brave warriors, Clifford and Northumberland come. Make him stand upon this molehill here, that wroughted mountains with outstretched arms, that parted but the shadow with his hand. What? Was it you that would be England's king? Was you that revelled in our parliament and made a preachment of your high descent? Where are your mess of sons to back you now? The wanton Edward, or the lusty George? Or where's that valiant crook-back prodigy, Dicky, your boy, that with his grumbling voice was wont to cheer his dad in mutinies? Or with the rest, where is thy darling Rutland? Look, York, I have stained this napkin with the blood that valiant Clifford with his rapier's point made issue from the bosom of the boy. And if thine eyes can water for his death, I give thee this to dry thy cheeks withal. Alas, poor York, but that I hate thee deadly, I should lament thy miserable state. I prithee grieve to make me merry, York. What? Hath thy fiery heart so parched thine entrails that not a tear can fall for Rutland's death? Why art thou patient, man? Thou shouldst be mad, and I to make thee mad, to mock thee thus, stamp, rave, and fret, that I may sing and dance. Thou wouldst be feed, I see, to make me sport. York cannot speak unless he wear a crown for York, and lords bow low to him. Hold you his hands whilst I do set it on. Aye, marry, sir, now looks he like a king. Aye, this is he that took King Henry's chair, and this is he was his adopted heir. But how is it that great Plantagenet is crowned so soon, and broke his solemn oath? As I bethink me, you should not be king till our King Henry hath shook hands with death. And would you pale your head in Henry's glory, and rob his temples of the diadem now in his life, and break your holy oath? Oh, 'tis a fault too unpardonable. Off with the crown, and with the crown his head. And whilst we breathe, take time to do him dead.
Aye, sir. God be with ye. Now I am alone. Oh, what a rogue and peasant slave am I. Is it not monstrous that this player here, but in a fiction, in a dream of passion, could force his soul so to his own conceit that from her working all his visage wand, tears in his eyes, distraction in his aspect, a broken voice, his whole function, suiting with forms to his own conceit, and all for nothing, for Hecuba. What's Hecuba to him, or he to Hecuba, that he should weep for her? What would he do had he the motive and hue for passion that I have? He would cleave the general ear with horrid speech, make mad the guilty, appall the free, confound the ignorant, and amaze indeed the very faculties of eyes and ears. Yet I, a dull and muddy-meddled rascal, peak like John and dreams unpregnant of my cause, and can say nothing, no, not for a king, upon whose property and most dear life a damned defeat was made. Am I a coward? Who calls me villain? Breaks my painted cross, plucks off my beard, and blows it in my face, pricks me by the nose, and gives me the lion throat as deep as to the lungs? Who does me this? Swoons, I should take it, for it cannot be but that I am pigeon-livered and lack gall to make oppression bitter. Or ere this, I should have fatted all the region kites with this slave's awful bloody body villain. Remorseless, treacherous, lecherous, kindless villain, oh, vengeance! Why, what an ass am I? This is most brave, that I, the son of a dear father, murdered, prompted to my revenge by heaven and hell, must like a whore unpack my heart with words and fall a-cursing like a very drab of scullion. Fie upon it! Fuck! About my brains! Gah! I have heard that guilty creatures sitting at a play hath by the very cunning of the scene been struck so to the soul that presently they have proclaimed their malefactions. For murder, though it hath no tongue, will speak with most miraculous organ. I'll have these players play something like the murder of my father before mine uncle. I'll observe his looks, I'll tempt him to the quick if he but blench. I know my course. The spirit I have seen may be the devil, and the devil hath power to assume a pleasing shape, yea, and out of my weakness and my melancholy, as he is very potent with such spirits, abuses me to damn me. I'll have grounds more relative than this. The play's the thing, wherein I'll catch the conscience of the king.
Proceed, Solinus, to procure my fall, and by the doom of death end woes in hall. Yet this be my comfort. When thy words are done, my woes end likewise with the evening sun. In Syracusa was I born, and wed unto a woman, happy but for me, and by me had not our hap been bad. With her I lived in joy. Our wealth increased. By prosperous voyages I often made to Epidamnum. My spouse, from whom my absence was not 6 months old, made provision for her following me. And soon and safe she arrived where I was. She became a joyful mother of 2 goodly sons. And what was strange, the one so like the other, as could not be distinguished but by names. That very hour, and in that self-same inn, a meaner woman was delivered of such a burden. Male twins, both alike. These for their parents were exceeding poor, I bought and brought up to attend my sons. My wife, not meanly proud of 2 such boys, made daily motions for our home return. Unwilling I agreed. A league from Epidamnum had we sailed, before the always wind-obeying deep gave any tragic instance of our harm. By what obscured light the heavens did grant, did convey upon our fearful minds a doubtful warrant of immediate death. The sailors sought for safety by our boat, and left the ship, then sinking ripe, to us. My wife, more careful for the latter born, had fastened him unto a small spare mast. To him one of the other twins was bound, whilst I had been like heedful of the others. The children thus disposed, my wife and I fastened ourselves at either end the mast, and floating straight, obedient to the stream, was carried toward Corinth. The seas waxed calm, and we discovered 2 ships from far making amain to us. Of Corinth this, of Epidaurus that, yet ere they came. But ere the ships could meet by twice 5 leagues, we were encountered by a mighty rock, which being violently borne upon, our helpful ship was splitted in the midst, so that in this unjust divorce of us, destiny had left to both of us alike what to delight in, what to sorrow for. And in our eyes, they 3 were taken up by the fishermen of Corinth, as we had thought. At length another ship had seized on us, and would have reft the fishers of their prey, had not their bark been very slow of sail. Therefore homeward did they bend their course. At 18 years, my youngest boy, and yet my eldest care, became inquisitive after his brother, and importuned me that his attendant might bear him company in quest of him whom whilst I labored of a love to see, I hazarded the loss of one I loved. 5 summers have I spent in furthest Greece, and coasting homeward came to Ephesus, hopeless to find, yet loath to leave, unsought that or any place that harbors men. Yet this must end the story of my life.
Show you set.
I'm set.
Action.
Live with me and be my love, and all the pleasures we will prove. Through fields and hills and valleys and dales, and all the craggy mountains yields. There we will sit upon the rocks, and watch the shepherd feed their flocks. Through shallow rivers by whose falls melodious songbirds sing madrigals. There I will make you a bed of roses, with 1,000 fragrant posies, a cup of flowers and a kirtle, embroidered all with leaves of myrtle, a belt of straw and ivy buds, a coral clasp and amber studs. And if these measures may thee move, then live with me and be my love.